turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can
sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. My life destroyed, life destroyed. Until I walk awake, scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? Can I take? Can I be your superhero? Superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 Fly away. It's the first time of today. Today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. You're a superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 Can I be your superhero? Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new live stream with me. I am Mo, a trader, a quantitative analyst. I have helped a ton of traders out there to navigate the trading industry using artificial intelligence. I have built a system to analyze news sentiment, and through those news sentiment I can understand where traders think and where our psychological levels the hedge funds and large institutes are interested in, and how they build their positions. And also founder and CEO of Trading Game. So before we dig deeper today, you will learn key important stuff. First of all, you will learn what the macro is doing, what the dark pool is doing, what the institutes are doing, what Bitcoin macro is, and how to analyze Bitcoin macros, and how the micro analyzing is going. And at the end we will have special guest who gonna tell us more about technical analysis and his point of the view on the market currently, as the S&P 500 has been going down in the last couple of hours of the day, as today is a big news day and news days is always volatile days, so we will go deeper into that. So first of all, let's go into the dark pools. So on Tesla, this has been going very interesting over here in terms of dark pools. We have a couple of dark pools, activities in the low over here, and there has Tesla moved a little bit, and it is very interesting to see those activity always in that area of highs or area of the lows. It could be both either buys or sells. So based on the market structure currently, the S&P 500 speculates it could be sells. Before we dig deeper, let's watch also dark pools directly from here, right? So let's go to Tesla. I was analyzing this coin. So I'm currently in a long trade on Tesla, right? This is my long trade here on Tesla. If you are not watching me, go to trading view and you can see all my trades. I am very transparent and trading it very interesting. So key level I would be interested in taking my profit. First of all, this is gonna be around here. This is gonna be my first partial take profit, as a lot of liquidity resting there. Those red lines is making a lot of limited orders out there. So basically say over here, those red lines, okay, a lot of limit orders there. Limit orders, limit orders, limit orders, right? That's being said, so you know what those blue and red lines means, right? So one key thing, I have my own indicators over here. One is the money flow, so how the money is flowing, and the second one is my own alpha signal, analyzing the different time frames, volume, and based on the volume. So I trade basically say based on sentiment, volume, and market structure, and using my own tool to achieve this, right? That's being said, okay, you understand right now what the money flow is doing and the context of the red lines and what the signals are, right? The signal doesn't mean I should buy it. There are potential buys, potential sell ideas. So if this plots on here, especially when we go to the daily time frames and so on, we can see clearly that it's working well on the daily time frame and the bigger time frames, right? So even we go to the 3 days, in the 3 days we have this buy signal. So we are clearly 1, 2, 3, and we made straight up there, and we currently have our first one. It could be a W formation and something continuation to the upsides on Tesla. But on the shorter terms, it is the ES, the S&P 500 future. It is called ES. Let me show it to you also, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. The ES, this is ES, S&P 500, leveraged S&P 500. So many traders, it's pretty risky. Each tick is $20. So each 0.001% moves is $20. And this being said, let's go back to our Tesla position. So we have here the Tesla, and we have our potential buy. And let's go to the lower time frame. We work ourselves always from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. That's being said, let's analyze it. Is this going W formation? It's gonna do some correction. The money flow over here almost at the top on the 4 hourly. Let's go on to 30 minutes. It's going sideways. So on the 30 minutes it's going sideways. So basically say nothing much. Resistance zone currently, so I wouldn't be surprised if we went lower from here and made this. Right, we want to have some VWAP where the institutional likes to buy. Yeah, the VWAP is also aligning. Even you can use the volume profile over here to make sure the ranging volume profile to know, okay, where exactly interests are, right? And here we can see clearly, okay, on the technical base we are currently at the support, but market structure later on in this video you will learn what the market is doing. Of course, if you have any question or anything you want to ask me directly in the chats over here, and I will get to you. That being said, let's go to the next thing. It is the next dark flow. So the Schwab's ETF has seen also ton of dark force inflows there, and especially at the lows here. And I speculate it they are buy, and so people are interested in buying this dark pool is more interested in buying it based on the structure, right? And directly how the price moves. So if it was price consolidating or going sideways, I speculate always the dark pools had some other idea. So for example, they bought over here in this area, but despite that it was going sideways a little bit high and then went lower, right? This was kinda sell and the buy also at the same time. That being said, let's go move to the next one. Today is a special earnings day, and tomorrow also ton of 80% of all those tech companies coming their earnings over here. The big blue chips becoming their earnings, and this is very interesting to watch them when their earnings comes, which I have usually noticed after the earnings the market corrects itself, so they anticipate, and even after correcting itself a little bit, the company got the option to buy more of their own company shares, and there is also this possibility that's happening, such as Visa, Microsoft, and all those company, McDonald's. So yeah, McDonald's has been always interesting in terms of revenue. So 2030 Bitcoin is this ARC assumption applied to active supply. So digital gold and other assets such as emerging markets and institutional investment. So the price target for 2030 it's gonna be 500 K on Bitcoin. So in annual growth of 32%, and the top range of this active bull case would be 2.4 million for Bitcoin, with annual growth of 72. So this is what the institutional are right now positioning themselves and how they are doing it, right? Just wanted to share that. There is another key thing is to know how to trade in the market. Is this indicator in terms of S&P 500, those companies and the daily average price movement. So based on this, you can see if majority of the company are trading above the daily 20-day average price. So that's being said, English, very interesting. So basically said this is when this happens. Okay, let me show it to you on the other screen. Let's go here. So even our indicator showing it beautifully. So sell zone upstairs, buy zone downstairs. So when it's a lot of companies trading above their average, there is the idea of mean reversion, right? So currently we are at the sell zone. So I wouldn't be surprised if the market tanked from here and went lower and something like this, right? And even going here and then upstairs. This is like moving in these ranges always. There is no percentages exactly to be exact how much percentage the stock market gonna move based on this, but this is also giving us the signal, hey, we are trading currently above the daily average, 20-day average, and the price gonna touch it again before it moves to the upside. That's being said, let's move to the next thing I wanted to share. It is how much millionaires is leaving the UK. I was interesting to see this in terms one of my friends was talking about moving to UK, and I figured out many people are leaving UK and going somewhere else, especially Dubai, Emirates has shown a lot of interest in entrepreneurs and helping them and funding them to come to their country and build their businesses over there. And they're trying to be oil-free income country. And last year, I think they made 30 billion through other sources of income, such as business and services. That being said, let's move to the next thing. It is the recession bear market outrage. So the recessions are basically said everything above 30% correction in my opinion, and it has tendency to have a recession. In terms, it is a bigger recession, a bigger correction. Currently, I wouldn't say we are in a recession. So what we have over here is not a recession, it's just a corrective wave, and it's a P500 till now, and there is always the potential for higher prices from here, but currently we are in this phase. We moved higher, we need to correct, and so we can continue higher. That's being said, let's move to the next thing. Okay, Morgan Stanley. The most important macro data at this stage is from the labor market. So the labor market today's come a lot of data, the core PCE and other data yesterday, and tomorrow coming also some other data. We're gonna go deeper to it, what the economical indicator is saying. And that could move the markets is the April ICM manufacturing data. So that's being said, we know what's catalyst gonna move the market, the ICM in this case till now. And let's go back to our, sorry, my nose is a little bit closed, let me clean it. So let's go over here. And go to ES, and before we go there, let's you can go to trading economics, and in there you go to calendar. After choosing the calendar here, I consent for whatever reason, and you choose high impact, and you will see all the news, upcoming news, right? Today was Wednesday, and we are mostly interested in the US GDP growth data, personal income, more personal spending, and tomorrow the Bank of Japan, so we know yen carry trades, what's going to happen over here. So we go to the forecast. The forecast was over here. Let's go back, summary. So it was previous 3.1%, and consensus is 2.3%, and it is actually 2.4, so we decreased over here. So what's going on? So let's go to PCE data. So PCE data actually was 0.4, so the personal spending its price index was better than expected, which is good. Over here the actual was 0.4, came to there also, and was previous negative, the personal spending over here, and was expected to be 0.5, right? And this was lower than was expected, which is not that worse, but the most interesting thing is going to be this one. So they expect to go higher if they remain low the interest rate. The people wouldn't be that interested in moving money to Japan, right? If the interest rates remained if the interest rate is working like this, if the interest rate increases, more people will be interested, less people gonna be interested investing in the US because they're gonna borrow from Japan and paying the US and investing in US company. If the Federal Reserve, the Fed interest rate drops, they're gonna take the money from there, investing in another country with higher interest rate, right? That being said, let's do this. Let's go deeper into the macro, what the S&P 500 doing. Let's do the SPY ETF over here, which is index, trying to simulate the index over here. So previously I was looking at this, and So I enter a trade over there, I take a partial take profit over here, and my always after taking partial take profit I put to 0. So we move lower, and we are currently in this downtrend, but the money flow is on the daily basis is flowing in. But at the same time, when we watch the view up from upstairs to the downstairs, we are currently at the rejection, which is important to acknowledge. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw correction from here to the downsides in terms of, let me draw it for you. So something like this, 3% correction at least. So we can hold this uptrend moving channel, 3% up to 2.7%, up to 3%, even going to 4%, right? Something at least like this. And when we have a view up from downstairs, then it is going to be also interesting, right? This view up going to be moving somewhere here and would be like approximately 4% movement. And when we talk about 4% movement, those are billions and billions in dollars, even trillions. And that is being said, let's go to gold. One thing is I wanted to show is, was it silver? I think gold silver ratio. Yeah, gold silver ratio was also interesting. So at this, when it's high, those gold silver ratio, let me close all this signals and stuff, when it's high, this means gold is a high priced in comparison to silver, and silver is undervalued. And when it's going lower, and this means it's going into the balance, right? And something like this, it could happen. But still, in this case of scenario, silver price need to go higher, which is undervalued currently in my opinion. And there is this possibility in the last couple of the weeks and months, people has been hedging its gold over here. Okay, let's do this. So people have been hedging with gold as the market goes. It's like a safe haven for people. Since December, gold has been running, and with all this volatility with Trump. And right now we are in this area of, let me make our signal indicators over here, and let's go to the 4 hourly. We can see clearly that the money has flown out. This turn was over here, somewhere here, and it still is going this sideways movements, right? And when we have a range over here from here to here, we currently at this support range, and we are moving zigzags from here to here. So we need, in this such a case of scenario, we need to go to the higher time frame to see what's going on in this market, to see what the gold is doing exactly. So let's go deeper into the 30 minutes and in lower time frame to see exactly what's going on. Let us also do a view up from upstairs to the downstairs. All this view up touches has been quite pretty strong over here. 1, 2, 3, and potentially is this the 6th one onto the downside? Question mark. Let's figure it out. So on the 15 time minute, we're still going higher. On the 30 time minute, on the 15 is trying to find some rejection. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went lower prices from here. In the condition of the condition could be also possible, but not obligatory, that the S&P 500 going lower, higher. So when in the S&P 500 going higher, this means people are de-risking from gold, putting into S&P 500 or putting into the bond as a safe haven and so on. Then S&P 500, there is this possibility, right? So currently I would consider such a scenario movement from here. So something like this, about here, targeting here. As why I'm doing this, because on the weekly level we have been going forever to the high, so we need to see small correction. So move high, 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 small correction, move high, 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 small correction. So from here up to here we have moved how much? we have moved 22%. From here to here, we have moved 34%. From here to here, we have moved 20%. So basically said, after each 20%, we have some correction, right? And we have already moved 30% to the upside. We need a small correction over here on the money flow on the daily basis, telling us the volume is still increasing from here to here. Some nice volume, but more people are interested in shorting it. And right now the volatility remain in the market, but what they have realized in the latest couple of months, May has been a buying months, and June more selling months, right? So it could be possible that in June gold go higher. In May right now it goes a little bit lower to our target. So more updates, deeper updates, if I take trades and so on, you will find it on my trading view over here in my profile. Okay, let me save this first of all. You go to my profile, risk adjusted return, and over here I post almost on the daily level. For example, sugar, I was watching sugar, so potential upside trade, and as there is buy cluster over there. And crypto AVEX, I was looking for this trade to the downside. Even this optimism, and we are going to our level. I have posted the indicator, and over here my Ethereum short. So the Ethereum short is now, we took twice the first take profit. And right now the gold analysis, you can see over here the gold analysis. I was like, okay, let me analyze this. Is this still going this sideways movement? Is nothing right happening this much, right? We have this W formation. Is it still touching over here and then going? So that's being said, let's also virtual. This is also interesting. I was anticipating. So my target has been hit basically, but I was looking for reversal and then upside, but they went straight to the upside. So NU is also looking interesting, has been interesting company. We're going to our first take profit over here. It's doing well. Let's go to see what does XRP doing. XRP is going to our first take profit. DVN, I think this one is didn't much move this much, right? This is still, I'm still in the trade. Over here Invesco is going towards our take profit. So basically said, let's go deeper. Solana, I'm being in this short trade. I took some profit, and I was like in this Solana trade forever. This is like felt forever. I think in the last 2 weeks, or in last week, I think, yeah, 5 days. I was like 5 days in this short from here, and I was also in a long position, right? I took some profit over there too. Let's do this one. MTDR, not much movement, but still moving towards buy zone, so I'm not in a trade there. Nvidia, so on Nvidia posted, hey, I was in a long trade over here. I was like, okay, gonna reverse from here, then I take another long, and exactly what I was anticipating happened, right? So I took take profit over here, entered over here, and right now I'm still in that trade. So I didn't take profit yet. So because I suspect the price is gonna go higher. So Lucid has been not moving this much. This is very low movement, low volatile stock. NEO, yeah, NEO has we take the first take profit at NEO. So I don't update this much on the terms, but I have like all those trades in it, so you can know, okay, exactly there. But one important thing you need to understand is the risk management and how to trade and how to manage your risk actively and passively also. So Stella, what does Stella doing? So Stella wasn't in the trade. The idea was if we come here over here in this entry area, we do a W formation, we'd see some consolidation here, then I would be entering it. So Stella wasn't a successful trade. Our edge, very interesting. I'm looking for lower prices to be entering it because there is ton other better opportunities, better trades over there outside. So that's being said, we will go deeper to our special guest and ask him a couple of questions in terms what he thinks about the markets and how he sees the markets in terms of technical analysis and point of view. So I will give the mic further to Arthur. Arthur, are you here?
Yes, I am here, Mo. Great job. Nice presentation.
Thank you very much. Would you like to share with us what you see currently on the market, on the Nasdaq, S&P 500, ES, and what's going on? Why those in the couple days has been so volatile and not that clear if it's gonna go upside or the downsides? What do you think?
Sure. Well, I have my ES chart pulled up here on the 2 hour. Let me just zoom out just to give you guys a quick background of what I am looking at. I apologize that my chart is a bit messy. Let me just remove some things here. Okay, so I'm going to look at this on a 4 hour first and foremost. And I just want to give you guys an idea of what is exactly happening in the overall, let's call it, month of April. So you can see that we had a drop. We kind of set a potential meaningful bottom here. We had this, crazy God candle rally move, which eventually started this slow melt up in the market. Now, I use volume tools to give me an idea where potential liquidity sits in the market. And so when I actually have my fixed range, which is right around here, you can see the volume profile on the left-hand side from where I began the range pull. And the reason was because this is when we lost this low, and that's where this ultimately new range began. And since then, you can see we kind of broke down, retested this high volume node, and bounced back in, ultimately reclaiming the range. And then you can see here we're kind of tapping the value area low, the anchored VWAP, holding it as support, trying to stay and trade within the range. And then what I believe was a flush trap here where, a lot of short sellers might be assuming that, if we start losing these lows over here, that these lows become inevitable. And so you actually had quite a bit of traders that were trapped on the wrong side of the market because you don't really want to be shorting the value area low. This orange line down here would technically be a support zone. And you only really want to short the market if you get this retest and rejection. That would be more of a confirmation, so you would be able to short right here. But obviously we had this kind of rotation that's bringing us into what I believe is a bit of a falling wedge structure. So to give you guys some context, we've obviously moved about, call it 9% on the ES in just a matter of about a week and a half. And that is quite a fast move. Now, my knowledge of Elliott wave tends to suggest that whenever we start seeing wedge structures like this, in the Elliott wave, Wavepedia, Ralph Nelson Elliott actually explains these structures as being corrective structures. And they tend to occur when the market has moved too fast, too far in a particular direction. So, usually sometimes might have a reversal wedge when the price is dropping, it creates a wedge and then it breaks out. Ultimately, you have similar effects when the market pumps from lows and, creates a compression, which ultimately breaks out as a bearish structure. And you can see we had that breakout this morning. So what am I looking for in the coming days and perhaps in the coming weeks is I have a few scenarios that I would be open to. But the very first is I would like to see the reaction of this bearish structure play out first. And what I believe we're ultimately looking at here is you can see we kind of had a breakout, retest of the wedge. And since we've had this drop, now What I believe is happening here is a rejection at this common zone being the 618 from the top of the move, which began here. You could see my zero line here. And if I were just to give you guys an idea, something like this. Now, generally speaking, if you have a common rejection at a 618, you can assume that you might get a one-to-one move, which means that the first velocity of the first move and magnitude could be something similar. And so I've used my trend-based fib extension, which is very simply put from the high to the low of the first bounce to the high of the pivot. And that'll actually give you a extension one-to-one marked, which is this move. And the second move would be the same magnitude, being the one-to-one. Now, what's interesting to me about this is that whenever you have these structures, a lot of newer traders might actually believe that this is a very bearish structure and it's a complete reversal structure, which in some cases it can be, but I would suggest having the bias that it is firstly a corrective structure. And what is a corrective structure? A corrective structure will pull back and then continue in the original direction of the trend. That's why it's called a corrective structure, because it is a trend-based structural pattern. And so, although, yes, this could fall through and completely die, I would first be interested in looking for the common Fibonacci, which is the 618. As you can see here, we have the point of control, we have the 618, and we have this one-to-one extension just below. So we do have quite a bit of potential zones where the market could bounce. In particular, this zone right over here, you could very well see a candle that might form something like this, where you have the wick of the candle touching the one-to-one, and then the body of the candle closing above the 618, which could potentially initiate a reversal here. And where would the overall target for that reversal be? Is the 618 to the one-to-one extension of what is a potential corrective structure, being an A, B, and C. So although it's a little bit complicated, if you don't understand Elliott wave, I can understand that this would be quite complicated to understand. But fear not, Elliott wave is quite basic when you understand corrective structures, impulsive structures, and you kind of are able to interpret the market from a price action perspective. Now, the one thing that was very interesting to me, why I thought this price action was interesting, was because I actually found something quite similar here, which occurred right before the major drop that we had on the Trump tariff that kind of brought us 15% lower. You can actually see we had a very similar move. We had a very fast, impulsive move from a trap zone. You can see we had what would be kind of like a bear trap right over here. Very quick move, coiling action, drop right into the 618 extension. You can see we had a one-to-one type of zigzag correction here. And then we got to move further into these Fibonacci targets from the larger ABC pattern. And so what I was thinking was that, hey, fractals tend to repeat, and price action and patterns can repeat themselves. And what would be any different is if we saw that exact same style of pattern right over here, and that would look something like this, as you can see, even potentially extending up to the one-to-one. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I would be interested in taking long positions down here. If the market believes that we are going lower, we do have some very, very, very strong support just down here on the ES around 5,300. And really simply, it's just a volume weighted moving average from the very low. So what this moving average does is it calculates the average volume based price and gives you this trend line, which is, quite a strong trend line. You can see anytime we lose it, if we reclaim it, the market just completely rips. So I do have confluence here, which is the 618 Fibonacci common bounce zone between this low and this high, We also have this point of control, which is marked in blue, which is the largest volume node on our volume profile. You can see by far we have the most amount of shares traded in the market at this price. So this should be quite a strong support should buyers believe to bring this market higher. This area would be quite strong. And on top of which, we have all of them stacked together and the value area low just below it. So this zone is, in my opinion, very strong. Should we lose this zone, it would be quite bearish, and it probably would open up the opportunity for us to see new lows or at least revisit existing lows. And so I would personally like to see the market move a little bit higher in the short term. Although, today I'm a little bit more bearishly biased given the context of this wedge. Within the next week or so, I would love to see kind of a reaction that might lead into a bounce. And then we might get something like this into this CC zone, which might ultimately give us a reaction higher. Either that or we just completely flush down right into this zone. That would be a great spot to look for long trades for a potential reversal move higher. And should we lose this zone right over here, then that would be quite bearish, in my opinion. And, we would maybe even be open to seeing a breakdown here where you could short the loss of the value area low, or perhaps short the retest of this zone if it is lost. So that's the ES. Obviously, ES is the big daddy, the most important player. Onto the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, we're kind of seeing some similar price action here, although I do believe that we might have some kind of a wedge structure here forming on the NASDAQ, like a bear flag almost. So I'm just going to kind of point that in here right here. Sorry about that messy chart. I do have quite a bit of things on here that are helping me gauge what the market direction is. But Nasdaq is making a little bit more progress than the S&P, and so the reason why I say that is you can see we have our previous value range right over here, and you can see Nasdaq broke out of this range, and today we came and back tested the value area high, which is a common zone for price to back test if it wants to move higher. And so looking at NASDAQ on the 4-hour chart, looks like it has some more juice to go to the upside here. And that might actually be due to the positive earnings catalyst that could be coming out from companies like Meta, potentially NVIDIA towards the end of May, Facebook, Meta, like I just said, and other tech companies that might not necessarily be affected by the tariff policy of Donald Trump. So we might actually see some coming strength on the NASDAQ. So overall, would like to see some slightly higher prices in the medium term, like short to medium term, let's call it in the next week, week and a half, 2 weeks. I would love to see the market look higher. So I personally am looking for more long trades. Looking at some other indices, gold, gold is a safe haven asset. And one thing that is also concerning and to be aware of, that you might be having some kind of rotation happening here on gold, where the price might continue into the direction of the upside. One thing you do need to keep in mind is that gold tends to flourish during times of uncertainty. So whenever there is uncertainty in the market, investors tend to move into safe haven assets like gold. And you can kind of also see we are kind of creating some kind of a triangle, a little bit of price compression here. There eventually will be a breakout, whether to the upside or to the downside. We'll be watching that closely because this would actually help us gauge the market direction and the overall market health from investors and the global sentiment. And so, yeah, Bitcoin, we looked at Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin is looking quite strong, actually. I pull up the Bitcoin chart because we all love Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin on a longer term is looking quite strong here. I'm going to show you guys the daily picture just to give you some context of where we are here. As you can see here, we had this value range that Bitcoin traded in for quite a few months, right? And so whenever you are above value, if you can hold these value areas, you're considered above market price. Whenever you're below, you're considered below market price. And so you can see we kind of had a fake out, and now we're rotating right back to these value area lows. So you can actually see on my chart, these dotted lines, I actually use to mark previous value areas. And so since we have what's called a failed auction here, which is essentially meaning price tried to break down but was unsustainably able to remain below this value area low, because we're now reclaiming these value area lows, the only sensible thing is to have a rotation back to the value area high. Now, for me personally, I would like to at least see a confirmation that we are breaking out of this range. You can see that whenever you lose a range, you tend to back test that range as a confirmation that, hey, for the moment, the price is either overvalued or undervalued. In this case, we had it overvalued, and so price dropped. But as you can see here, we haven't quite made that back test. So we don't quite know with certainty if this breakout out of this value range is true. And so I would love to see that back test. If we do get it, I would look for long trades. You can see that we have the anchored VWAP, which is the average weighted moving price, sending us a signal that, hey, we might actually have some potentially strong support here in this zone. And if we actually take a look at the Fibonacci's, depending on where we might be, I'm going to go ahead and pull in my 0.5s and 0.382s. You can see that most particularly, our 382 tends to be a continuation Fibonacci. So if a trend is continuing, you might see that actually remain above the 382. So for me, Bitcoin, even if it were to drop down into that 88, 87 range, guess what? We still have quite a bit of support down here that could actually give us a strong, aggressive move to the upside should we see this move materialize. And so, yeah, that's kind of my take on the market. Mo, if there's anything else that you would like to add, by all means, feel free. And I hope that was insightful.
Definitely, Arthur. Thank you very much for sharing your insights on what you think about the market. So one key important thing is, I think, is this going. We need to address the elephant in the room. What do you think about technical analysis? Does it work? Because we all of us know, okay, technical analysis, it doesn't work. We hear these words everywhere, and it's this bunch of scam and so on. What's your take on that?
Technical analysis, I mean, it's obviously not a 100% guarantee. And I think that with anything that involves probabilities, you have to assume, with life and with, trading and anything, there's always going to be a risk when there's a reward, right? Doesn't matter if you're in business, doesn't matter if you're in, relationships, families, at the end of the day, everything carries risk. And for us, using technical analysis is just a form to analyze risk, right? So we traders like to use technical analysis to gauge how high our risk is. My favorite quote is, a gambler will tell you how much you can win, and then a trader will tell you how much you can lose. And so I love that saying, because in order to understand risk, you really need to understand price and direction and volume, as well as moving averages, a lot of things that could come help you build an edge and create a risk profile for yourself. So personally, I am a technical analyst. I love technical analysis. I believe that, yes, of course, technical analysis can be very, very effective. But I also believe that if it's used incorrectly and you don't understand how to switch your bias, given that the chart might be telling you different things, you have to be quick on your feet, that if, certain levels are broken, let's call them major support zones, right? And, what we were talking about before, looking at our volume profiles, right? Like, you can see that my blue zone is the point of control, which is the most traded zone in the market. And you can clearly see that the volume did step in and force the market higher. So there's reasons why we're seeing these bounces. And likewise here, you can see that price was overvalued and it failed to hold above the value area. And as soon as we broke back in, that's when we got this flush. So these zones do signify important areas in the market where volume steps in. And, when I talk to people about technical analysis to me is not about drawing lines in the sand or putting different markers in the chart. For me personally, technical analysis is understanding where volume sits, because volume at the end of the day is what moves the markets. Volume is what controls direction, right? And so when we see strong volume and we see zones where buyers and sellers are transacting large amounts, to me, it's very interesting to see what markets decide at those points. And so, understanding volume has been the biggest game changer for me. Understanding volume profiles, understanding volume weighted moving averages. These have been such powerful tools because they really give the trader in this, or if you're an investor or an analyst, you get an idea where the average median price sits, for example, and where to look for potential moves. Let's call them reversals, let's call them bounces in the market at what zones, right? Because buyers and sellers definitely believe that, certain products are undervalued and overvalued, as well as fairly valued. And that's why I love to use volume profiles, because for me as a trader, it really boils down to understanding what is above value price, what is below market price, and what is fair market price. Once you understand those three things, trading becomes a lot easier, because you're not looking at price at every single zone or every single level. You're looking at key support and resistance where you have a high probability for a price to move. That's how I look at technical analysis.
Thank you very much. It was quite deep over here what you were sharing.
What about you, Mo? What's your opinion on technical analysis?
Basically said technical analysis. One thing, there is no fire without oxygen, and if there so many technical analysis and technical analysis, then there is some truth to it. So I personally use both a fundamental technical, and my point of view is not much different from the point of view of Arthur. I believe in key important levels, and those key important levels are almost always based on volume. So I believe in the old-fashioned market analysis, supply and demand, to figure out where the key area of supply and where are the key area of demands, and the volume tell us that. And my money flow indicator is also telling me this information right over here. So I was over here, the money was flowing out, right? Let's go to lower time frame. I think then it's easier. So we can see clearly over here, we have topped over here. We have topped, then went down, then went again down. This is like money is flowing out and we're making higher highs, right? And you pull this VWAPs and other volume indicators, and I would say volume tools, and the difference between tools and indicators is are always chart based, tell you what's happening on the chart. Tools is tells you what is happening and behind the chart. So RSI is an indicator, money flow is a tool. So over here we can see the money was flowing out, so it was an indication for me. It's an extended move over here, since here was the talking about this with Arthur last week, and I was like, okay, gold could go upstairs there, liquidate all those retail traders entering the market over here, and all those entries by the retail trader, so the big money can exit the market. So the big money is always exiting portions, so they have billions and billions in dollars in those positions, right? So another key thing is over here, we're gonna dig deeper into a couple of other stocks such as Tesla. Let's watch Tesla. What does Tesla is doing? Tesla, I'm looking for this correction to add even to my position, and if this happens, I'm gonna add some more to my position. We go lower, we break it through the value area high, where is a first supply, first demand zone, and a bigger demand zone is going to be over here lower, and there I would be interested entering the market. So let's watch Microsoft and what Microsoft is doing. So those are the limit orders. Red lines is of the limit orders, and under Microsoft, under 4 hour, we clearly in a downtrend. So it is W formation, clear W formation over here. So markets moves like this always. Gonna draw you the secret of all chart analysis. Something like this. You make always W formation, return, retest, up, 1, 2. Okay, let me 1, 2, 3. Then we correct. So this is gonna be always here. W formation, okay, resistance somewhere here. Your entry should be here, and you bet for the upsides. If we see a lot consolidation, for example, you bet for the upsides. This is also connected with Elliott waves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 moves and always corrects. As in the most cases it takes 3, and in the larger cases it takes 4 up to 5 then corrects. So that being said, you can see that clearly on larger time frames also, like on the daily time frame you can see that. You can show even live example here. Let's do a live example. So from nowhere, let me remove all my indicator. Here, look this, okay? Markets came down. 1, W formation, upside, correction, where your entry gonna be. 1, okay, I would consider this 2, I would consider this 3. It's gonna be always the same. Again, look at this. Again, W formation, upside, small correction, upside, 1, 2, 3. You see, it is very beautiful. It is based on market structures and Elliott waves, and that is why technical analysis sometimes is beautiful. Of course, the market is efficient, and other information is driving the price over here for the upsides. But that being said, it is to watch for it, and that is correcting in such a way and moving in such a ways. So I like to use a lot of volume indicators and tools and sentiment to understand the fear and greed in the markets, so I can understand how the big institutions are positioning themselves in terms of their limit orders, in terms of their money flows, in terms of positions, in terms of hedging. And all this information is important for me, and I read it through options, I read it through dark pools, I read it through sentiment, I read it through volume, I read it through my own indicators. Of course, I always post also on my Telegram. If you go to my Telegram, I always post there in my Telegram, and even with voice chats and live trades, I tell people, okay, right now which position I am in and what I think about the market, right? And let's go here, over here, let's do some analysis for Microsoft. We are in the daily, we are doing this our W formation. So based on our W formation, is it this correction is gonna happen, and then we can go higher and touch this V1. So I wouldn't be surprised if, as Arthur told you, he's using, I call it the golden fib. You can just Google it, golden fib. My golden fib pocket is between 0.66 and 0.618 this range. So it's gonna come to here or up to here. This is 0.5 is also an interesting level where people and traders watch, right? It's gonna be something like this probably. Let's see. So many people say you cannot beat the market. Hell yeah, you can beat the market if you are a retail trader. Big managers, other people, they cannot beat the market in terms they need to protect their jobs by playing safe. They need to protect the asset. They need to have an annual growth and not such huge volatility in the equity curve. And they are not using leverage, they are not using options, and they're only planning buying the market low, selling high, and longing and not shorting the market. So over here is going to be a couple of percent move, 3% move. You can use some options or leverage ETFs and leverage Microsoft's ETFs. So what I see is a probability for higher prices is possible after the correction. So it would be correction over here, entering somewhere here. Let me add my indicators also so I can see clearly what's going on. The money is clearly flowing in, as we can see. Let's delete this W formation movement. So a lot of resistance upstairs. You see ton of limit orders. So I would be considering something like this. Okay. First of all, the price needs to come lower. Test, do some consolidation, or see nice volume. As we are going higher, you see the volume over here is decreasing, right? And which is not that good. If the volume over here is decreasing, that is not that good, and while we're doing higher prices, but we can see higher probabilities for the upsides if we did the correction. Some partial take profits gonna be here, some here, and I'm gonna do some here and let the rest run. So 75% or more of my position gonna be taken at the last take profit upstairs. That's being said, Microsoft, then we know how to position ourselves on Microsoft. So let's, if there are any ideas you would like me to check for you guys, let's check the chat. So someone is saying we should check Nvidia. Let's check Nvidia. Nvidia semi-W, I wouldn't say it's W formation. I think I see a triangle over here based on technicals. So I mostly don't trade only technicals. I trade fundamentals also, watch the debt ratios, earnings per shares, and other information. This is looking also interesting, right? This is downside potential. We are on a daily time frame. And let's check over here. The money is flowing in. You see, over here, the money was flowing out, but then we tagged. That's what I mean with the understanding the volume. So let's check Nvidia. Nvidia is in this triangle. Money. This is not clear action. Let's go in the lower time frame. So now volume on Nvidia. Very interesting. 4 hourly. Consolidating Nvidia. I would prefer to go lower than entering, but there is also 50-50 chance over here. So there is, would say after careful consideration, there is higher probability for the upside, 52%, and 48% for the downside. So this is almost 50-50, which I don't like. And the fear greed index over here, crypto, it says been greed, 56. And last month it was quite fearful months, and it's been going almost sideways, and we have seen a lot of fear in the market due to Trump also. So over here you can go to my website, tradinggen.services, Mohammed link, and over here you can book a call with me and help you with your strategical way to structure and give you systems and more. You can join my Telegram, or you can just download a free PDF over here. And in the PDF it talks what the difference between the retail traders and institutional traders, and how they manage their positions, how they understand the markets, and what does it need to become a profitable traders. It doesn't need indicators, it doesn't need anything else, just risk management and understanding the game which you are playing in. So I wish somebody told me at the start when I started the game how to trade the right way. So go check it. It's for free and download it and read it carefully. If you don't want to read it, go over here and listen to it. I made even a podcast for you over there. So let me ask Arthur. Arthur, do you have any wishes, stocks you would like to know my opinion about?
I think we talked about most of them earlier today, and yeah, this consistency edge is great. I would recommend people read it because it could open your eyes to different things. But I guess my last question that I have for you is, how are you feeling today at the end of the day?
Has been a great day at the start. Last 3 days has been in the market a little bit confusing. What it's gonna do, accumulating all those limit orders, has been a great day, and learned a ton of stuff, done ton of stuff, posted a lot in Telegram, and people have been watching and helping other people. Talked with a couple of companies today, trying to help them with inconsistency and risk management on an institutional and professional level, how the professional traders do their risk management and how to understand risk management, implied volatility, historical volatilities, and more. That being said, this has been a great day, and I'm looking forward for that correction on S&P 500. After that correction, I will be interested in taking longs. How about you, Arthur? How has your day been?
The day, I would say, is it's a great day every day, but yeah, it's been last week for me was a little bit challenging as well. I actually managed to catch some really great trades 2 weeks ago, and since then I've taken profits on the majority of those trades, and now I'm shifting over to the short side just to hedge my earnings. In case the market does get this big drop that I believe is likely coming. But I am, like you, looking to continue bringing this thing higher. If we can, bounce at key support zones and we get volume stepping in, I would love to. And, hopefully continue having some good price action and some good luck in the market.
Sounds very interesting and great. Thank you for sharing that. What's also one last thing. Next week we will discuss more deeper into the markets, how I trade, what to look for. Every week Wednesday we go live. It's gonna be every time a special guest who is sharing his opinion, sharing with us how to trade like a pro and how he day trades, what they're looking for, and what's on my radar right now. That being said, take care everyone, and don't forget to check my Telegram. Go over here, join my Telegram. Not that big right now, it's still growing, and there is no ton of noise. I'm trying just to help you. It's a free Telegram. I'm never gonna be paid Telegram. Just go over there, check it out. Maybe you find one another idea which I post. You can learn from it. Everyone, take care and have a